Hello, hello, is the audio fine for everyone? Hello, is the audio fine for everyone? Hello? So I hope I'm audible to everyone. So I think we should just wait for like 2 to 3 minutes for the other aspirants to join the session. So yes, so if there's something else.
Academy. Let's crack it.
So something else that you want to ask me right now, you could ask me because we'll wait for a few more minutes and then we'll start with the session. So today we'll be discussing about fundamental rights, then duties and DPSPs, which is Directive Principles of State Policy. Yes, Madhuri Yadav, you want to ask something? So if you want to ask something, you can ask me now because once the session starts, it will be difficult to answer the other questions. So it's 8:33 right now. We'll start the session by 8:35. If that is fine for everyone. And if there's any technical errors, do let me know that also. If my audio is not right, or if the video resolution is not right, or if something else. Okay, the examinations, I think. So I think you haven't seen the first video that I've made of, how the examinations, the exam patterns are about. I'll repeat the same thing again. That is, examinations are conducted in three phases. The first phase is preliminary examinations. It will be preferably in your own place, and you're from Bombay. So I think even in Bombay, you will be having like 2 to 3 centers, and you will get it regarding your roll number or your application number wise. So you'll get it in your place itself, in your residential area nearby to it. But your mains chances are there, suppose in one single state you will be having just 1 or 2 centers. Like for example, in Kerala, for the mains, you have a center only in Trivandrum. And I think in Maharashtra, the center is in Bombay, but the personality interview, the last part, the last phase is in Delhi. So we have three examinations in three different places and three point of view. So if you are weak in maths, so is it regarding your CSAT? I presume that is for your UPSC, for your prelims. We have two papers. First one is paper 1 and second one is paper 2. And for paper 2, only we need a few portions there we have in CSAT regarding your maths and logical analytical. Certain questions are there, data interpretations. So it's okay if your maths is weak. I mean, we have certain, tricks. So CSAT is basically, honoring the skills of, cracking all these tricky questions. It's sort of like a puzzles. Don't think of it as maths. Just think it as, sort of like a puzzles, and we are here to solve the questions and all. So no worries about that. I'll be starting with the CSAT session by the end of April and all. And yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, God bless you too. And CSAT, we wouldn't start with the preparations now. We'll wait for at least April. And thing is that because it's a skill honoring, work for us to do, there's no point of us to to get the skills before that we need. Just 3 months before your prelims is all that you need for having, brushing up your skill related questions and all. So no issues for that. And it's 8:36 right now. And without further ado, I think I should just start on with the class. And if there's something else anyone asks me, you can ask me right now. And so yes, so today we are going to discuss about fundamental rights, duties, and directive principles of state policies. So previous classes at class 1 and class 2, we discussed at first, we discussed a basic overview of a constitution of what it is. And second class, that was yesterday, we discussed about the historical background, how this constitution of India evolved to be what it is right now. So that all we went through. But today we are going to go topic wise. So first one is we having fundamental rights. And yes, okay, yeah. So today we'll be discussing about fundamental rights, DPSPs, and fundamental duties. So if you remember the first class I took, these are 3, 4, and uh, fourth and fifth part of the constitution. That is, a constitution is divided into 22 parts. 22 parts are mostly likely like a group or sort of like a category. So everything related to one specific item is categorized into parts by parts. So fundamental rights is the first one, that belongs to part 3. And we are going to discuss that now. So like we said, there is the first part of a constitution. First one is what? There is a territory, there is the boundaries of India, everything related to that is written. And the second one talks about citizenship, that is who belongs to India. And like I said, our background was a little murky. The reason is that partition of India was there, partition of India with Pakistan. So certain things has to be settled first and foremost itself. So that is the reason why citizenship and the articles related to citizenship was given in the second part itself. So who gets to be the Indian citizens and who are not the Indian citizens. Yes, and who are not Indian citizens, and regarding the NRIs and all. So everything is written over there. Third one is that we have citizen over here right now. So right now we have to give rights for them. That is, what are the provisions that they deserve? What are the rights that they deserve is going to be discussing here in fundamental rights. So here it's written that right means those freedom which are essential for personal good of the community. We as a nation is sovereign, secular, democratic, and we are not in a dictatorship kind of a nation. It is complete democracy, which is for the people, by the people, and of the people. For ensuring that, first, what do we need? Rights for the citizens. So that comes through the fundamental rights. So we have certain fundamental rights, and the rights guaranteed under the Constitution of India are fundamentals, as they have been incorporated into the fundamental law of the land and are enforceable in a court of law. One thing we have to understand, that fundamental rights are enforceable, but fundamental duties and DPSPs, which is directive principles of state policies, are not enforceable. Suppose someone violates my fundamental rights. I can take that person to the court with writs. That is the Article 32 and 35. So that is there. But if I violate my fundamental duties or with regarding the DPSPs, I cannot, take someone to court. So that is the difference over here. That is, fundamental rights are enforceable. That is, like we all know, right to equality, right to freedom. So these six are there as main categories, and someone violates me in terms of right to equality, that is someone discriminate me on the terms of my caste and my basis of my religion or my class or my sector. And if I could take that someone to court, I could get punishment for that person, I will get justice. But fundamental duties is different. So yes, I think we shouldn't go more about the same point again. So fundamental rights are those basic conditions of social life without which a citizen cannot be at his best self, or those basic conditions which are very essential for the good life of a citizen. That is, for India, for a nation to work, for a nation to function, there has to be a certain rights ensured to the citizens. And fundamental rights are being, if I could say, highly inspired or borrowed from USA, from US. and we felt that this is essential for the humans. That is the reason why it was incorporated here into our constitution. We have essentially six categories, and six categories is right to equality, right to freedom, right to education, right against exploitations, right to freedom of religion, right to constitutional remedies, and we had before one more, that is right to property, but that was removed because for example, for the road constructions, and I want to construct the road, and my plan comes through someone's house, and that person, if he take me to court saying that you are violating my fundamental right, I have the right to property and I don't want to sell my place to the government. That's what have been happening over here. That is, for example, if a road or a transportation facilities, the road itself, they want to expand, they want to develop more. What they'll do, they'll sell off or buy these land from these private owners. Suppose these person don't, they don't agree for the selling. So what happens? This project will be blocked. For those reasons, and for the other reasons as well, right to property was removed from our fundamental rights. At present, we have six of it, and six of them are enforceable under the court of law. And we are going to discuss one by one each. And first one is the fundamental rights, that is equality, then right to freedom, right against exploitations, right to freedom of religion, cultural, educational religions, right to constitutional remedies. So the first one in the right to equality comes under equality before law. That is, earlier there was a distance, that is before the civilizations, that is during these Vedic period, what we found is that the Brahmins will be having lots of privileges, and if they commit a crime, they are easily pardoned. But these people of lower class sectors, these people are punished. And one more thing is that I think I have repeated the same example before itself. Initially, before, what happened was that, for example, for the eyewitnesses, a man's witness is counted as one, but a woman's witness is counted as just half. So she needs two women's eyewitness to make it one. So such disparity was there in terms of gender as well. So nobody will be distinguished before the law. Everyone is equal, even the president, prime minister, or even just a common citizen or a migrant labor. There is no distinguish between each people. That is the first one, and that comes under Article 14. And the next one is Article 15, social equality and equal access to public areas. Social equality means in terms of provisions, in terms of facilities. That is, for example, you're waiting for a ration shop, or you want to issue your own ration card. So you are going to get social equality. That is, just because you belong to a different category doesn't mean that you will be deprived of your right. Everyone is equal. Even the rich man could apply for the ration card, but you will be receiving according to it. And equal access to public areas is the government sectors, government offices, and you could go to the secretariat. You could approach all these ministers. You could approach bureaucrats, and it is open to everyone. It is not like only high class people have the right to enter the door, and the lower class or uneducated or illiterate people aren't supposed to, mingle with these. There's nothing like that. Everyone is considered equal, and everyone will have equal rights before the law, and also in social disparities as well. And here, equality in matters of public employment, for example, your UPSC that we have right now. And this is like the biggest example that I could ever muster up. For example, UPSC, a person from Nagaland, a person from Kanyakumari, a person from Jammu and Kashmir, a person from, just think about from any nook and corner of a nation, and everyone is equal over here considered. And you are not being distinguished on the basis of any criteria. It doesn't matter whether you are a man, whether you are a boy or a girl or other gender, or if you belong to other category, or you are not a son or a child of someone. It doesn't matter. You all are equal in terms of this public employment. This is not just the UPSC, but also other government sector jobs as well. You have the qualifications, you clear the exam, and then you will get the job. And there won't be any other disregard for this. Abolishment of untouchability, and that comes under Article 17. Why this was initiated, why this was included in Indian Constitution, is because India, I think even after 70-75 years after independence, we are still I think if you just look into the interior parts of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and all, we still find these untouchabilities, and where people are, barred from entering their general category, where they are not allowed to sit together, eat together, or travel together. They're not supposed to come to the public roads or public areas and all. So, untouchability is considered a crime over here. And if any way you are, disregarding someone or considering someone to be untouchable, or just calling out names, or even through your actions, if you just treat them to be untouchables, you will be punished under the law, and that ensures here in Article 17. The next one is abolishing of titles. Even here, up and low also we have abolishing of titles is titles like Nawabs and sultans and all these titles. We still have all these princely states over here, and still their generations are going on, but their kids and their younger generations wouldn't get the title being given to them. And that is the examples of Nawabs and Pathans and all these, I'm sorry, not Pathans, Nawabs and Diwani names and all. It wouldn't be given to them. Their forefathers had okay, fine, but here onwards, after this law was initiated over here, you wouldn't get the title. Uh, that is, these titles which are given to you by your birth. But you can have titles like doctor. For example, you get PhD degree, you will be a doctor, and you become an assistant professor, you will become an assistant professor. But something that you're born with, you wouldn't get that, and you will be denied of that. So that comes under abolishing of titles under Article 18. And the next category here, it was right to equality. Here's right to freedom. Okay, like I said, we have 6 categories. These are 6 categories. The first one we already done with. Second category is right to freedom. So under Article 19 also there are subdivisions under it. And I think the 19 part A is pretty much, like popular among everyone. That is these newspaper, print, magazines, and these TV journalists. They're actually over abusing 19 bar A1. This freedom of speech and expressions, whatever they say, they're saying that we have the right to speak, we have the right to speech and expressions under the right to freedom. So they're using this special clause and saying and getting away with it. So this comes under it. So this is A, B, that is 19A, 19B, C, D, E, F. So like that also the subdivisions comes under it. So the first one is Article 19, protection of certain rights regarding freedom of speech and related to it. So the first one is speech and expressions, and expressions could be any way. You could have a mono act, or you could have a tableau in the road, or you could have, the way of other ways of expressions of it. You could have a sketch or a drawing, but provided that these are not in a way like defamations or slander. And I think it's pretty much like we all know, all UPSC aspirants must have seen these news. I think this is like 2 or 3 months old. That is Prashant Bhushan. He was an advocate, and he actually just wrote a tweet. It's not actually. He didn't write it any public. Okay, Twitter is a public space, but he wrote in the tweet regarding the Chief Justice of India, Bobde, and it was sort of like criticizing our Chief Justice of India, and he was, criticized by the jury, by the judiciary, and he was, given the sentence. That is, he was given the punishment for that. So we have all these rights. These 6 rights are ensured by the government, but also these are, restricted to reasonable restrictions. That is, sure, now we have right to equality and right to freedom, but doesn't mean that we could speak about anything. It doesn't mean that I'll just get naked and stand on the road and saying all these abusive words. That is, we all are applicable to the reasonable restrictions. You have the rights demanded that you won't violate or over abuse it. So that's it. And the next one is freedom to assemble peacefully without arms. And the same example is the farm laws and these farmers agitating here in Delhi. They are peacefully agitating, and yes, they did block few entry points here and there and around Delhi and all. But still, it's a peaceful procession. They are not carrying any arms or ammunitions like any weapons. Arms means weapons. So they are not having any weapons or they doing anything in violent way. It's just a peaceful processions, what they're having, a peaceful strike sort of. And freedom to form associations or unions. For example, we could have clubs or we could have associations like that, like, different clubs, nature club, whatever clubs that you want. Or you could have, for example, here onwards, I decided to start a club for aspirants, civil service aspirants. It's my wish I could start anything. And freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India. I think I've even discussed this in the previous class with the salient features of India. Here in India, we don't have dual citizenship. It is one single citizenship. Like contrary to the examples of US, for example, you belong to Florida. So you will be citizen of Florida and also the whole of US. But over here, it doesn't matter where you belong from, Bihar, Orissa, Jharkhand. You are a citizen of India. You are not citizen of a state. You are citizen of the whole of India. So in those cases, in those provisions, you can just move freely throughout any places. You can go from north to east or east to south or west to, it's totally upon your wish. And freedom to reside and settle in any part of the territory of India. Yes, this also again. And freedom to participate in any professions or to carry on any occupation, trade or business. So these are totally your freedom. You want to do something, that is, before what we found is that all Shudras had to be Shudras and all Brahmins, their kids have to be Brahmins. So such stringent, social norms are being taken or done away with. You are a son of, for example, a carpenter, you want to be a doctor, you could be a doctor. Or you are a son of a doctor, but you want to be a priest. You want to be a priest, you could be a priest. And there is no one or no society trying to restrict you depending on that. It's totally your wish. And then Article 20 comes protections in respect of conviction for offences. For example, Nirbhaya case, if I would take, there were four people were convicted of the offense, but they are convicted, but that doesn't mean that government could do whatever they wish. They are found guilty, they did the crime, and we have the legal evidences to prove that, but doesn't mean that we are gonna, torture these people. They are gonna get punishment according to the rule of law. And just to finish off the frustrations for what these four people have done to this Nirbhaya, we're not going to let them loose to the public and let the public, kill this person or torture them or, do all these physical assaults and all. So, no, even these these criminals also have certain rights to them. And it cannot be, violated by even the government. And Article 21 is protection of life and personal liberty. That is basically, I as a person, I deserve a certain respect and dignity. And for example, if corona vaccine, just a hypothetical example, okay, there is no guarantee for that, just a hypothetical example. Suppose here in India, Modi ji said that okay, our vaccinations are available. Do one thing, we'll start off like everyone, for all people, vaccination is completely free of cost. You want the vaccination, just come here, you'll get the shot and you'll go. So it's completely free. This is just a hypothetical example, okay? There's no assurance like that. So I'm just giving a hypothetical example. Suppose if the vaccinations are free and I am a poor person, probably I live in streets and I don't have a home or I don't have anyone. I just live in street, I sleep in street, I eat food in street, that's it. And just because I am a street dweller doesn't mean that I will be denied of my right. That is everyone. That is each single person. It doesn't matter who you are according to your social strata. You will have the protection of life and personal liberty. Liberty is freedom. And it wouldn't be called because you are someone. And Article 22 deals about protection against arrest and detention in certain cases. Same here with regarding the respect of conviction of offenders. Same over here. That is, here we are, even in the Indians, they're highly critical of a judicial system, saying that in one case it takes about 10-20 years for someone to be convicted or evicted. And one example I could say today in Kerala, there is actually a case that was happening for the past 28 years. A sister, a nun, she was murdered by a priest and another nun, and it took 28 years, 28 long years. I'm 28 years. So this something happened before I was born, and today was the judgment. The final judgment was passed today. It took 28 years for that to come out, and people are very highly critical, saying that our judicial system is not very stringent. It's not very strict with all these criminals. The reason is that our judiciary is all worried about not to punish, at least in a way to punish all these criminals. They shouldn't overstep and punish people who are not guilty. There are chances that these people are not guilty, but the evidences are against them. There are chances, right? Even in movies that we have seen, someone who is very innocent, but the evidences are against him. So there is nothing that we can do about it. For those reasons only, our judiciary is such a way that they'll be having multiple reviews and multiple jurisdictions, and many panels will be there for those reasons only. So, and also regarding that also, even the arrested and detention people, if someone is in remand, these people will also have a special provision and special privilege. And for example, the same Nirbhaya case. These four people, they did something. They tortured her, raped her, and killed her off. And just because they did that doesn't mean that they will be denied of the rights of seeking judicial or seeking legal aid for them, or contacting their judge, or asking for all these things. So these people, they cannot be denied even if you are found guilty, or even if you are found before guilty. So these things are throughout for all the citizens over here, irrespective of guilty, innocent, whatever that you are. The next important category, that is, I'm sorry if this is boring, that is, I'm just reiterating for the benefit of others who is not able to comprehend easily. We already done with right to equality, right to freedom. Next one is right against exploitations. That is, here we have two of them. That is right to prohibitions of traffic in human beings and forced labor. If you have seen the movie KGF, KGF is, what is that? Kolar gold mine. What they did was that they will, abduct all these local people over from there in Karnataka. They'll, just grab them and take them to these isolated place and force them to do the labor. So it is totally against it. And trafficking of human is selling of humans. It doesn't matter what, even if laborer or prostitutions or anything related, you have no rights to consider human as a commodity. So for those reasons, trafficking against humans are prohibited, and also forced labor. You cannot force someone to do a job, and if something they don't want to do the job, it's their wish, and you cannot force them. And the next one is Article 24. We already discussed 23 about human trafficking and forced labor, but again a special provision again to mention about the children, because this is a very critical and essential part. The children needs extra care. For those reasons, an extra article is again specifically written for the children, is that prohibition of employment of children in factories and other hazardous places. That is, you can find in all these cracker factories and all these bangle making. And I still remember a book that I've read, that in bangle factories mostly the children will be employed over there, and by the age of 15 to 16 years of age, that is 160 years of age, these children will be partially blind because of these these lights and all. So I don't know about the technical factors of making the bangles. So children under the 14 years of age are prohibited from working in these hazardous environment in bonded labors and all. So yes, this is the one category. The next category regarding your religion, that is, here we discuss about equality, freedom, exploitations. Now is about religion and certain acts and articles regarding your religion. That is, first one, Article 25 is about freedom of conscience and free profession, practice, and propagation of religion. Suppose you are born as a Christian, but all of a sudden I realize that no, I don't want to be a Christian, I want to be a Muslim. It's your wish. You want to convert, you just convert it. And in UP, there is a new law was introduced in Yogi Adityanath chief ministership government, that is intercaste marriage law. That is, for example, a boy and girl, they fall in love and they are from two different castes, and the one person converts the religion to the other for the sake of marriage, their marriage will be considered null. But again, the Supreme Court and High Court, they ruled out, saying that no, this cannot be initiated. The reason why, religion is something which totally sort of like a fundamental right. This person wanted to convert, and we don't have to look into the motive or the reason behind this person's conversions. They wanted to convert to Christian tomorrow, and day after tomorrow they want to be a Muslim, and after they want to be a Sikh, and then they want to be a Parsi. It's totally upon their wish. And nobody or no one have a right to interfere in that, even for parents or children or something like that. One's wish is one's wish. And Article 26, freedom on managed religious affairs. For example, there will be certain trustees and certain trust, or like these temples and churches and all these pilgrim centers will be having their own organizations, their own centers, and their own systematic institutions for that. So they have a right to have their own, managed religious affairs. For example, Shabrimala, they have Devasam board and all these for that, to regulate the functions and the workings of this particular temple, and they even have the right to do that, since everything deals with the economy. And Article 27 is freedom as to payment of taxes for promotion of any particular religion. That is, yes, again, for example, I want to propagate my religion, and nobody couldn't, say anything against me. For example, I am Christian, and I feel that many people has to, I cannot force someone to, uh, you know, accept my religion, but I could, do something like promotional activities for my religion. And it's totally upon your wish. You want to do marketing on your religion, do that. And Article 28 is freedom as to attendance at religious instructions or religious worship in certain educational institutions. That is, in all these Christian schools and Christian institutions, educational institutions that we can find, is that this is just an example. Okay, I have nothing against all these Christian institutions. That is, they also give out lessons to the students of these institutions regarding religion and Christianity, and they have the right for that, and it's okay. And the next one is right to get educations. We already discussed here right against exploitations here in under Article 24. Children below the age of 14 are not allowed to work in hazardous environment, even if the child agrees for that. No, they are not allowed to do that. So here we are talking about again about children, their right to education, that is protection of interest of minorities and right of minority to establish administration educational institutions. That is, for example, if a Muslim institute, they start up or set up their own, institute, and they could do it upon their wish, and they also have right to have reservations like community reservations. Suppose a Hindu institute start a school, and they're saying that five Hindu students community quota is there, and you could have take admissions on the basis of that. Yes, they can do that. It's their institute, and they also have the article or the law abiding by that. And the next one is right to constitutional remedies for the enforcement of fundamental rights. So till here we discuss about what are the rights that they deserve. The last one talks about the constitutional remedies. Suppose if anyone violates any of the rights being mentioned over here, I could approach Supreme Court and High Court on the basis of constitutional remedies. So that is the last one, final one that's been talked about over here. And it starts with 14, but actually our this part fundamental rights start with article 12 and 13 regarding the technical ones, even like the last one. So yes, now next one is fundamental duties, and like I said, fundamental duties are not enforceable. Suppose it's written over here, I'm sorry, written over here to preserve and culture, or something. I'll take simpler ones, to respect the national flag and national anthem. For example, if the national anthem is being played through a public podium or a public speaker, I have to get up and stand and respect. Okay, sort of like an ethical. But if inside my mind, if I disrespect it in my mind, nobody is going to punish me for that. And duties and fundamental duties are somewhat considered to be ethical norms. For example, it is considered to be non-ethical if you lie to your parents. It is considered ethical to be truthful to your parents. But these are ethics. These are not hard and fast laws. These are just ethics. Similar over here, duties are somewhat like ethics. You are expected to follow, and the government will be more than happy if you would just follow it. So it's something like that. So the first one is to abide by constitution, respect the ideals and institutions. But we have people who go against it, and to respect the national flag and national anthem, to realize and follow the essential ideals of secularism, democracy, and non-violence, to preserve the culture and heritage, to protect the sovereignty, unity, integrity of the nation, to safeguard the public property. Public property, for example, Taj Mahal, you cannot, scribble over there, and it doesn't mean that you will get away with it. To defend the country even at the cost of our life. So, these sentences are highly ethical. This is something that is being expected to be followed, but it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice your life for the nation. And this is something which is expected to follow. Yes. And to protect the natural resources, yes. To avoid dowry, gambling, and other social evils. What are the other social evils like sati and patriarchal systems and uh, domestic abuses and all these are there. To strive towards excellence in the respective spheres of activities of the individuals. To be the best. For example, I am a mentor, and my fundamental duty is to be the best at it, to be the best mentor that is there out there in YouTube or any online medium. So these are just ethical duties that are expected to be followed by the citizens or the individuals of India. And the next one that we are talking about, DPSPs, or directive principles of state policy. That is, same way the fundamental duties are for the people, DPSPs are for the state and center. That is, they are the guidelines to the central and state governments of India to be kept in mind while framing the laws and policies. If you remember the first class that I taught you, the preamble is something that sets the theme for the constitution. What is the constitution? The tone or the mood of the constitution is set in few sentences in the preamble. Same over here. DPSPs are the ideas that we should keep in our mind while making the laws or amendment or acts or bills, whatever that we are trying to bring. This applies for both legislative and executive. Whatever that you are trying to do, keep in mind the DPSPs, that what is essentially what you want, what is the essential points that you have to keep in mind for doing it. And yes, this contain and that is, DPSPs aim to create social and economic conditions under which citizens can lead a good life. That is, we are not aiming towards economic growth. This is just an example, okay? Economic growth is not what we want. We want economic development. What is economic growth and development? Economic growth is when the whole of the GDP goes up, but that doesn't ensure a good life for all the citizens. That is that the poor people will be more poor and the rich people will be contributing so much to the GDP. So that is not development. Development is overall development when the disparity among the rich and poor is reduced. So it is to create both social and economic balance in a way that the citizens' life are much more better and improved. For example, if I want to bring a law tomorrow regarding the same farm bills or regarding something else, for example, regarding educational institutions, and I cannot make a law just because I think this is beneficial. I have to make the law considering all these points. Yes, why do I need to make the law? So that it create a social economic balance in the society, and it becomes a sort of like empowerment to those people, and it in a way develops all these people and motivates all these people. So all these points had to be kept in mind, and it established a social economic democracy through the welfare state. That is, for all these policies that Pradhan Mantri Yojanas are there, so everything is being made, even the simple Pradhan Mantri Yojanas, these are made keeping the DPSPs in mind. So these are for like markers for all these executive and these legislative people. They have to keep the DPSPs in mind while formulating all these bills and acts for the betterment of these people. And directive principles are non-justifiable rights of the people. Directive principle, though not justifiable, are fundamental to the government of country. For example, the same farm bills. Uh, you know, farm bills are actually good, and they both have cons and pros to it. But thing is that DPSPs, like I said, even for the fundamental duties, these are not enforceable among the law. That is, I cannot, as a farmer, I cannot go accuse the government saying that you didn't keep the DPSP in your mind while framing these three contentious bills or farm bills, because they are totally at disadvantages for these farmers. I cannot say that, because DPSPs are just guidelines to be kept in mind while framing all these provisions, and they are not enforceable. I cannot take government to the court saying that they did not look into our interest. So these are just yardstick for these government. And Article 36 defines that state includes the government and Parliament of India, and the government and the legislature of each state and all the local authorities within the territory of India or under the control of government of India. That is, in short, of all the hierarchical system from the union to the local panchayats. And Article 37 applies applications of all the principles, that is, all these principles that they are trying to achieve. And 38 is about state to secure a social order for the promotion or the welfare of people. So this is the essential objective, okay, objective of the government, to have welfare of the people. Welfare of the people is the only objective. And for example, if the government or if the India is going sort of like deterioration, so what do? The government brings out lots of schemes and welfare activities, and all these yojanas will be brought about so that it will be easier to revive the economy and the social strata of people. And Article 39 talks about certain principles of policies to be followed by the state, that is, equal rights to men and women. Sure enough, in a house, there will be discriminations among men and women, and that is very sad. Even in 22nd, 21st century, it's happening and it shouldn't happen, it shouldn't go on. But yes, that's a different topic altogether. But the court or the judicial or the executive or the legislature, they have no rights to deny someone on the basis of all these categories. And ownership of resources, equal pay for equal work, and protection of children. That is, this is not the exhausted list. There is even more to it. That is all the welfare of each sector. That is even for the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, social deprived or economically deprived. So many lists are there. So all these people's welfare has to be kept at the utmost importance or priority. And 39A, equal justice and free legal aid to citizens to have economic or both or other disabilities. For example, if someone is not able to, seek judicial remedies. Why? Because they don't have the money to approach an advocate and pay the fees. But the government has to ensure that. And this is not about this legal aid, but also regarding the justice. Irrespective of what you are, the judgment or the judiciary will decide according to the laws, according to the evidences and witnesses being provided. And Article 40 is organization of village panchayats. Yes, even though these are DPSPs, this are full on over here. I think throughout India we have lots of panchayats, lots of corporations, and this is essentially taken care of. And Article 41 deals about right to work, right to education, and to public assistance in certain cases. That is, for example, if I need to get somewhere. I have a job interview, and for example, a month or strike is there, and the bus strike is there, and I don't have transportation facilities. I could go approach the local police station saying that I have to get this when you get here at this place, but since it's bus strike, I have no other means of transportation. So the police are supposed to take you there, and this is not just for this. For any sorts of public assistance, the government is, they are obliged to give it to us, and they are obliged. And this is, like I said, these are non-enforceable. And Article 42 is about provision for just and human conditions of work and maternity relief. That is, for example, I work in a private company, and private company, they are highly capitalist mentality people. That is, for them, it's all about increasing the margin to get maximum profit. And just because I am a private owner and my employees, they are happily agreeing to me, doesn't mean that I could make them do overwork, making them work for 16 to 17 hours per day. There are certain conditions, office work environment facilities that has to be taken care of, even maternity leave. Certain provisions are given to these pregnant women, and even after the delivery I have to give them allowances regarding that. And 43 article deals about living wage, good working condition, etc. for workers, these migrant laborers. Okay, they deserve to get good wage, good working conditions, and good accommodations and food and other facilities which will sustain their life. And Article 43A deals with participations of workers in management of wind in industries. This is again is an ethical kind of a thing, and it is not enforceable. We cannot, force a worker saying that you have to work for the management of industry. If that person is lazy and slacks behind, Yes, after 2 or 3 months, that person will be thrown out from the or fired from the institution. And Article 44 is uniform civil code for the citizens. Just because he is a Shudra doesn't mean that the law will be different for them. Suppose, a Shudra murdered someone, and just because she is Shudra and I have to take care of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe doesn't mean that Shudra will get away with it. Everyone deserves equal, and that is uniform civil code. The law is applicable to everyone throughout the whole of nation. And Article 45 is provision for free and compulsory education for children. Yes, that we know. Up till until the age of 14, you will get free education from the government facilities. And 46 talks about promotion of educational economic interest of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and other weaker sections. That is all these activities and programs and organizations for all these people of uh, underdeveloped or disadvantaged sectors. And Article 47 is duty of the state to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living and to improve public health. And one example is, all these Anganwadis and all, they'll be giving out nutritional foods to these pregnant women and also to the babies until the age of certain age. I think for the girl children after the birth will be getting 8,000 rupees and the boy children will be getting 6,000 rupees after your delivery. And these they will be getting immunizations, compulsory ones, and the free ones will be getting in the health. And the basic healthcare facilities will be ensured by the government. And Article 48 is organizations of agricultural and animal husbandry. Yes, regarding animal husbandry is regarding cattle rearing and all these. And agriculture also, organizations, that is all these APMCs and APMCs and the other, private and public owned associations and groups and all these, essential associations for the welfare and for the protections of these categories. And Article 48A deals about protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding of forest and wildlife. That is all these forest officials, not just forest officials, okay, all these activities and policies will be there. That is, for example, sandalwood. You are not supposed to cut a sandalwood tree. Even if you have a sandalwood tree in your house, you are not supposed to cut the tree and sell it off. And there are even certain restrictions also regarding that. This is why, so that it will ensure protection to the both flora and fauna. And the Salman Khan and Sanjay Dutt that we all know, they actually killed endangered animal species and all. So this is against it. You are not supposed to even parrot. Parrot is considered to be an endangered species. You are not supposed to have a parrot inside your house. And if public organizations or anyone or legal aid comes to know about it, you will be arrested and stringent actions will be taken against you. And the next one is Article 49, that is protection of monuments and places and objects of national importance. Same example over here, that is all these natural heritage museums and like Taj Mahal, Qutub Minars and all. They will be renovated and they will be maintained, and the amount will be taken care by the government. For example, if a natural calamity occur, that by the God's grace, nothing like that happened because we are already done with this corona pandemic. For example, an earthquake happens and something happens to Taj Mahal. The government they are obliged, they are, supposed to renovate the house. They are supposed to do all the maintenance work and bring it back to the original glory of it. So that is about the monuments and places. And Article 50 is separation of judiciary from executive. Like we all know, the most supreme. We have three pillars in a democracy, that is judiciary, executive, and legislative. But judiciary is something considered to be the utmost important, and judiciary is the the independent pillar, and nobody and no one could influence the judicial system. And they have their own way, and they will say their own way according to the right just. So executive is prime minister, the cabinet ministers. Even if they are highly powerful, they cannot influence judicial. Sorry. Article 51 is about promotion of international peace and security. Just and honorable relations encourage settlement of international dispute by arbitrations. That is what is that we are trying to achieve. Harmony, peace, and non-violence. Just like how Mahatma Gandhi wanted us to follow and wanted us to have the it doesn't matter if you are having lots of development, if your GDP is very high, if your education or your level goes up or your literacy level goes up, it doesn't matter as long as there is no peace, harmony here in India. And the implementations of DPSPs could be through all these reforms, all these acts, all these bills that we can say. And here the welfare scheme for weaker sections and all those yojanas, all these policies and schemes, they are here so that, somewhere the other way, even if they are not mentioned in the acts or the legal laws or not, it could be again revived. That is, DPSP is ever evolving. For example, tomorrow a situation comes that certain section of society, they comes weaker. What do? They, through the DPSPs, they'll be initiating lots of welfare activities for that. And certain amendments were done in DPSPs, and the amendment is done by two-thirds of the members present and voting. And the major amendment was Article 31C, inserted in the Directive Principles of State Policy by 25th Amendment Act of 1971, seeks to upgrade the DPSPs. So these points are with respect to your prelims basis. So they'll be asking which one is amended and what is the modifications being done. And the next one is Article 48A, which ensures protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding of forest and wildlife, was added by the 42nd Amendment Act. So certain here we have 48 and we have 48A. If you remember, we have 48 and 48A. So again, it was added as a subclause to it. So why do they adding it? Because they felt okay, special additional protection also has to be ensured. For those reasons only, certain amendments are being done. And then Article 45, which ensures provisions for free and compulsory education for children, which was added in 2002, that is in 86th Amendment, that is until the age of 14, you will be given free and compulsory education. That is, for example, if a child is found in a factory which is under 8 years old, 10 years old, who is under 14 years of age, they, who is in charge will be punished for child labor, and they'll be sent to schools. And we have lots of government facilities, schools and institutions as well. And DPSPs, this is just a conclusions, are non-justifiable rights of people. Guidelines of central and state governments. This is something that central and state governments are expected to follow. And while framing these laws and constitutions, they are supposed to keep it in mind and then make all these policies and bills and laws. And they are not enforceable by any court. For example, this farm bills that we are having, and judiciary, they can't question them saying that you wouldn't keep DPSPs in mind, because everything has pros, the positive and the negatives. And just because some people don't see the positive doesn't mean that it's something bad. And it's considered fundamental in the governance of the country. It is the duty of state to apply these principles in making laws to establish a just society in the country. And this is something, yes, duty of state to be kept in mind for DPSPs while framing laws and policies to establish a just society in the country. So sort of like an ideal or utopian concept, that is something that these people had in their mind while they are having DPSPs, which is the fourth part of your Indian constitution. We have 22, this is the fourth one. So our class ends over here. It was a very short class. We discussed about fundamental rights, duties and DPSPs. So that was it for today's class. And if you have any doubts, do let me know that now. And I don't think I'll be having a class tomorrow, since it is uh, Christmas Eve tomorrow. So I probably wouldn't have a live session tomorrow. And also on 25th, on Christmas also, there wouldn't be any live session. The next live session will be on 26th. And preferably I'll start off with a new subject, probably economics I'll start off with. And same time it will be 8:30. And if there's any doubt that you want to ask me now, you can ask me, because I'm about to end the session. And I really hope I was able to convey the points to you all, and I could clarify certain doubts to you all. So that's it for today's class. I'll see you all, and happy Christmas.